everyone, welcome to Mogu Knitting. I'm Sine, and in today's video I'm going to give you a tutorial on how I knit this tiered ruffle top. So I was inspired by Amazingish Grace's ruffle top. I think it's called the cupcake tiered reversible top. I'm not sure of the name, but I will put the link down below. But unfortunately I do not know how to crochet, so I decided to self-draft this top. So it is a knit version of the top. But if you do know how to crochet and do wish to make a crochet version of this top, you could go and purchase the pattern by Amazingish Grace. This top, it is basically a stockinette piece with just like drop stitches, and I knit it back and forth because I want to tie it in the front with these eye cards. So actually I've just taken off the top and I want to show you what it look like off. So it is basically this giant rectangle piece that I just pick up and stitches for the ruffles. And I have two eye cords to make up the straps, and actually I would like to have 3 ties for the front, but I ran out of yarn, so I could only make 4 eye cords to make up 2 ties. Yeah, so let's get right into the tutorial. First, you will have to knit a gauge swatch. So just a regular stockinette swatch will do. So the purpose of this gauge swatch is to find out how many stitches we should cast on for your rectangular panel. So the rectangular panel, once it's tied in the front, it should go over the widest part of your body. So you should take a measurement of the widest part of the body. And with that measurement, I added around 5 cm of positive ease. And so I compared that measurement with my gauge to find out how many stitches I should cast on. So in my case, I cast on 100 stitches on 5mm needles. So because the cast on edge would be the edge itself, like we're not going to add any eye cards to it. I want it to be neat, so I decided to do a long tail cast on. Next, after we cast on, we will do the setup row, and where we purl all the stitches. Just a disclaimer, I knit the top in pink, but I actually filmed that, but it didn't turn out very well, so I'm filming this tutorial again. Yeah, but unfortunately I ran out of the yarn, so I cannot demonstrate this tutorial in the pink yarn, so I'm showing to you in the same yarn but in a different color. So after the setup row, which will be row number 1, so row 1 will be a right side row. So on every right side row, we will do a drop stitch, and on every wrong side row, we will just purl regularly. So to do the drop stitch, you can either change it to a larger needle or wrap the yarn around the needle multiple times. I don't have giant needles and I didn't want to go out and get new needles just for this top, so I decided to wrap the yarn around the needle 3 times. So if you want a tighter mesh look, you can wrap the yarn around twice. If you want a looser mesh top, wrap it around more times. So it's as simple as that. By the way, I'm not sure what this stitch is called, but I'm just going to call it the drop stitch, even though I think it's wrong and it's technically not a drop stitch, but you get what I mean. So from now I'm just going to call it the drop stitch. After you work across the whole row of the drop stitch, on the wrong side you will then work the purl stitch across the whole row. And it's that simple. You just work the drop stitch on every right side roll and the purl stitch on the wrong side. And so these are the only 2 stitches you will have to know to knit this top. I've done up a diagram to show you the overview of the top. So you will just knit row 1 and row 2 continuously, repeat it 7 times. So it means that you will knit it 8 times in total. So now after you have finished 8 times of row 1 and row 2 repeats, you will now bind off this rectangle panel. After you have bind off the rectangle panel, you will now pick up and knit stitches for the ruffles. Please refer to this diagram to see where you should pick up your stitches. So basically you should pick up the stitches on the row that you purled on the wrong side. For those who know how to knit a ruffle, you will know that you have to have at least twice the number of cast on stitches to create the ruffle look. So for this case, how we're going to create the ruffle look is that you're going to pick up stitches in every stitch and in between every stitch. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, I try to show you in the video. I hope it's clear. Even though I said you should have double the number of stitches after you pick up all the stitches, you should actually have 2 times the number of cast on stitches minus 1 to be exact. So don't worry if you don't have exactly that number of stitches, but honestly, when I picked up and knit my stitches, I didn't count. I just picked up and trust that it was correct. Yeah, but I figured that the way to see the stitches clearly is to stretch the piece out as you are working, so you'll be able to see like where you can pick up your stitches clearer. The orientation of the rectangle panel to pick up the stitches is to have the right side facing you and have it the right side up. This way you can immediately work on the drop stitch when I flip my work after finishing picking up all the stitches. Now you just work the drop stitch and the purl stitch as before and work it twice in total for each ruffle. Now you just have to do the ruffle all over again 2 more times and you're done with the top. Well, almost. Now you just have to work on multiple I-cords and then sew them on, and then you will be finally done. So after you finish knitting everything, then you have to knit the I-cords for the straps and the tie-offs in the front. So For the straps, because I know that I-cord will stretch over time, I wanted my top to like lie in this like range, so I decided to knit like the shortest, the highest point where I want it to be. Then I know like it will drop slowly over time. So for reference, the length of the I-cord that I knit was 37 cm, and the I-cords for the front ties, if you have more yarn, then you can do 3 ties, but I ran out of yarn, so I only could do 2 ties. So 2 ties means 4 I-cords, and my I-cords, the length is around 32 cm for each of these. Yeah, if you would like a longer bow, then knit it longer. If you don't like it to be like so long, then knit it shorter. Yeah, then I just like sew the I-cords onto my top, and this is it. Oh, and I wanted to mention how I determine where to sew the I-cords on. So you have the measurement of the length of this rectangle piece, right? And then I measured like on the front where I want my ties to fall. So for me, the distance, I measured the distance here was around 22 cm. So I know I want 22 cm here and then 22 cm at the back. So I just took the final length of my rectangle minus 44 cm and then divide it by 2 to find the length, for me to find the distance between the point where I would sew the I-cords on. And so since it's 22 cm between the 2 straps, means from the front here it would be around like 11 cm. I think that's what I did. Okay, so I just measured my piece, and it is around like 12 cm from the edge. Yeah, I guess maybe I can't remember, maybe I included calculations of the negative e's, so I just added one more extra cm to the front. So here is 12 cm, and then I can't remember this measurement, but I know in between the 2 straps it should be 22 cm unless this stretched. Yeah, so it is, I can't see, but it is 22 cm in between the 2 straps. Yeah, so that is what I did to position the I-cord straps. And then you weave in the ends, and then you have your top. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. And I hope you enjoyed this video as well. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!